We have an update on the MSC Baltic 3, the ship that went aground in February on the west coast of Newfoundland. Yeah, she ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Here's the story from the Maritime Executive that was published on the 28th of October 2025. Salvage efforts are continuing 8 months after the container ship MSC Baltic 3 went aground in a remote cove on the western shore of Newfoundland, Canada. While the majority of the fuel and the cargo have been removed from the vessel, they are focusing on additional cleanup as the vessel is prepared for winter. The 207-meter or 676-foot vessel was driven ashore in a fierce storm in February of 2025 with a daring helicopter rescue of the crew. It came to rest in Cedar Cove, and surveys later showed cracking in the hull, which led to the determination that the approximately 1.7 million liters of heavy fuel and marine gas oil on board, and the 470 containers, half of which were empty, needed to be removed from the ship. As of October, the Canadian Coast Guard reports that nearly all the fuel has been pumped from the ship's tanks. The operation required eating and pumping it to tanks on the deck, and then again to a barge that was positioned alongside. The fuel was ultimately transferred to other MSC ships that called into the port of Corner Brook. The efforts are continuing to focus on cleaning the tanks and remove as much residual oil as possible from the ship. Also, the contents of the slop tank has been pumped to the deck to be offloaded. The effort is now focusing on flushing the tanks. Bruce English, who is overseeing the salvage operation for the Canadian Coast Guard, told the Telegram newspaper that they would not be able to complete the flushing 100% because time is running out before the arrival of winter weather. The salvage team hired by MSC has also removed 407 containers from the ship. Some of the containers that remain in the holds have water that entered the holds, and the contents have become soaked. Some of the containers are also misshapen, and with the water have become too heavy to be lifted to the deck. Also, some of them contain food products that decomposed and are generating noxious gases. English told the newspaper that if weather permits, the salvage team might cut open some of the 65 remaining containers. However, he said the oil remains top priority. Removing the containers would also require a barge with splash guards to contain anything that might be leaking during the transport. In an effort to winterize the vessel, they also flooded some of the tanks to add ballast. However, they want the vessel to be able to continue to shift, or they fear winter waves and storms could cause more damage to the hull. The weather has continued to be a problem and limits the time the crew can get aboard the vessel. Work was being completed on a cableway from the shore to the vessel. It will be able to transfer personnel and improve access to the vessel. English told the Telegram that the fate of the ship remains undecided and that it will be staying in the cove till at least spring. He said it is still possible that the ship might be able to be refloated, or it could eventually be dismantled in the cove. It might be just me, but this seems to be taking forever. This happened in February, the middle of February, and now it's the end of October. I think if there's any chance of refloating this vessel, it has to be done this year. There's no way she's going to be in any kind of fit state to be refloated in the spring. The chance of that happening is very, very slim. This seems like a make-work project, and they want to cut her up where she is, which can be done, but it's probably going to make one hell of a mess in that cove. But that's just my opinion. Alright guys, there it is. As always, thanks for watching. If you're new here and you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you on the next one.